WWJ.
WWJ News Time 2:11. More on one of our top stories. Joe Biden, the projected winner of the primary here in Michigan. WWJ's Stephanie Davis talked live with Dave Dulio, the director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University.
Well, by all accounts, the quick call from all the news networks and the early returns that are in are showing that this is a decisive victory for the former vice president over Bernie Sanders. As your report mentioned, Sanders won the state's primary in 2016 by a very slim margin over Hillary Clinton. That year, that gave his campaign quite a boost and some hope in being able to take Hillary Clinton in that primary race. That appears that it won't be the case this time around. So another big win for the former vice president keeps his momentum going that he started in South Carolina through Super Tuesday, and it looks like the March 10th primaries are going to be another big delegate haul for Joe Biden.
And our Lansing Bureau Chief Tim Skubic on earlier said basically, though, that this is not over for Bernie Sanders, that he will be debating Joe Biden later in the coming days here. Is there a pathway to victory for Bernie Sanders, or is it all downhill here?
Well, the Sanders path is becoming narrower and narrower, and it's getting, frankly, difficult to see even one that exists, simply because of the strong momentum that Joe Biden has built in the last week or 10 days in the primaries and caucuses that have taken place. And that is only going to continue. He's only going to get more support to rally behind him as he is seen as as in control of this Democratic primary race. Now, it is correct to say that it's not over, because Joe Biden isn't even close to the number of delegates that he needs to have secured by the time the Democratic National Convention rolls around this summer. But the trajectory he is on is undeniable, and it's getting more and more difficult as each state result comes in for Bernie Sanders.
And how do you see the party uniting after, if a Bernie Sanders doesn't make it? How do you see the party uniting here?
Well, that's a big question. And in your report, Governor Blanchard mentioned that Joe Biden is seen as a moderate in the Democratic primary field. And then he quickly said, but he's also a progressive. And that's the trick, right? That's going to be the trick for the Biden campaign, to figure out how they can bring in, if at all possible, bring in the Sanders supporters to be part of that campaign, to be part of the coalition of voters for Joe Biden. It was tough in 2016, and it was more than tough. It didn't happen with many respects, where you saw Sanders voters not show up at the polls to support Hillary Clinton. My hunch is that Democrats don't do that this time, or at least not as much. But it's going to be a tight line for Joe Biden to walk between staying as the moderate that people view him as, and also trying to reach out to that progressive base of Bernie Sanders.
That's Dave Dulio from Oakland University speaking with WWJ's Stephanie Davis. WWJ News Time now 2:15.